State management with Context API. Introduction to Context API. The Context API is a feature introduced in React that allows components to share data without having to pass props manually through each level of the component tree. It provides a way to pass data through the component tree without having to explicitly pass props down the tree at every level. Creating and consuming context. Creating context. Context is created using the create context function from the React module. We can do that by import React from React and then constant my context equal to react.create context. This is how you can create a context. Providing and consuming a context. To provide context to components, wrap the parent components with the context.provider component and pass the data as a value prop. So if you see here, you have my context.provider where value is some value, and then you have child components under it and close the my context.provider. To consume context in a child components, use the context.consumer component or the use context hook. So if you see here, my context.consumer value equal to whatever value you want to render something based on the context value and then close it. Or and the other way is to use context where you can say in code in my component has a constant value equal to use context my context. Using context to manage global state. Context can be used to manage global state by providing state values through context and updating them in the higher level components. So in this case, you see I have my context where I'm creating the context, and I am calling in the my provider component where I am getting the state and set state from use state, and then I'm returning the my context.provider, passing it the value of state and set state and prop children inside it, all the children components inside it, and closing it. Context versus Redux for state management. Both Context API and Redux are state management solutions for React applications, but they serve different purposes and have different use cases. For Context API, it is suitable for managing simpler state that needs to be shared between components in a smaller application or specific parts of a larger application. It's built into React and doesn't require any additional libraries. Redux is suitable for managing complex state and handling asynchronous actions in larger applications. It provides a centralized store and allows for more structured and predictable state management. It's often preferred for large applications with many interconnected components. In summary, Context API is a simpler and more lightweight solution for state management in React applications, while Redux provides more advanced features and scalability for larger and more complex applications. The choice between the two depends on the specific requirements and complexity of the application.